Welcome, everyone. I'm Nick, and welcome to the Omniverse of Nick. And the next story, single-parter, what if Shane Walsh from The Walking Dead was in Saw, the horror movie franchise of Jigsaw and Billy the Puppet and all that? And what if he was in it? Now, this is going to be like a tailgate kind of episode, which means that it's going to be very, very short. Kind of shorter than that one, but I'm going to do my best to make it go on for as long as possible while getting to the point as quickly as possible to not bore you guys or disappoint you. So, before we get into it, be sure to acknowledge and support the future of the channel by smashing the like button, subscribing to the Omniverse of Nick, and checking out the Discord, Patreon, and Google Doc on the homepage to help the future of this channel. With all that said, let's get straight to the point. Now, like I said, this is a crossover what if, which I've obviously done before. What if Shane Walsh, a cop and person who died in season 2 of The Walking Dead, was in the Saw franchise? Now, here's how we're going to make this at least somewhat entertaining. And here's how we're going to arrange this particular what if. Because I wouldn't be able to make it a franchise, which I'll explain at the very end. So, we're going to be talking about the good and the bad, about what Shane would bring to the table if he were in this franchise. Like I said, can't make it a series because he's a cop, so it could honestly go the same direction that all the other cops brought to the Saw table. So this is the literal only way that I can include Shane in this franchise here. So, it's what we got to work with. So, with that said, we're going to be getting into the good and the bad that Shane would offer if he were in this story. So, let's dive in. First off, if Shane were with the likes of Eric Matthews, Riggs, Kelly, all those people, all those cops, and all the investigations, the Saw franchise would literally be over in 2 movies. Not even. Because Shane is freaking tough. And the only reason that he died in season 2 was because he was out of his mind. And Rick got him off guard. And got him all emotional and stuff. Had that not been, Shane would have literally probably bossed the entire Walking Dead. Or, just died later. But if he were in Saw, and with these other cops, Jigsaw would not stand even a remote kind of chance. He would have had to have been lucky to trick or get Shane in a trap. Literally. And before you guys say anything, the only biggest and probably most likely to be a threat to Shane would have to be Mark Hoffman. And even then, Shane would literally beat him down mercilessly, especially after what he did to people like Ed and stuff like that in the franchise. So, Shane versus Mark Hoffman would be the only highlight of Jigsaw winning against Shane. So, we covered the good. Now we're going to cover the bad. And this is where we're going to wrap things up really quickly. If Shane was an accomplice of Jigsaw, or he was in a trap and then became an accomplice, or was just a straight up helper from the start, no human being in the franchise would be alive. The killings and the traps would be even more brutal, and no one would stand a chance. Because of Shane, he was a cop. And Jigsaw's crafty trap and brutal mindset, combined with Shane's brutal and very much over-the-top mindset, and how quickly he adapted to the Walking Dead timeline, would mean that if he was with Jigsaw, no human in the Saw franchise would stand even a remote chance. So, that's the good and the bad. What did we learn from this? Shane being in Saw is way too freaking broken. So in closing, Shane Walsh in Saw would honestly, on a few levels, be the same as any of the other cops, like Riggs, Matthews, Hoffman, which then later he turned into a bad guy, obviously. And he would either A, be way too overpowered and basically be a one-man fighting machine against a Jigsaw and his followers, and just literally end it in like a movie or two, not even. Or he would become an accomplice and basically doom the entirety of the Saw world to the very, very, very scary feats of Jigsaw. So, that's what if Shane Walsh was in Saw. Short little analysis, couldn't really come up with a story for this, because, like I said, Shane Walsh was already a cop, so throwing him into the mix, he would just be a stronger cop. So it would either end very good, too good to be true, or it would doom the entirety of the Saw world to die. So, I hope you enjoyed this one. So at the time of recording this, I'm going to be taking a little break, and then the next two stories I'll be working on is what if Skyquake joined the Autobots, and what if John Wick was in the MCU. So those are going to be two decently good ones, so I hope you enjoyed these two that I worked on just recently. The Doc Ock, which was a really good one, of my favorite Spider-Man villain, and this one regarding just a sweet, simple analysis of Shane and Saw. So, with all that said, I'll see you guys soon whenever I do eventually make those two next projects. And we're nearing the end of the list that I'm on. So, with all that said, thank you guys for watching this. If you did enjoy, be sure to acknowledge the Omniverse of Nick by smashing the like button, subbing to the channel, commenting future expectations and what ifs in the comment section, and checking out my Discord, Patreon, and my Google Doc on the homepage to support the future of the channel. I'll see you guys later.